Hi, hello, it's me, Tiana, back at it again for another video, and today we are talking about the BET Awards. So my talking about the BET Awards is not going to be linear, so like don't try to follow what I'm saying like in connection with the show, because I'm literally, I just wrote some notes as I was like working earlier today. I was like, oh, I remember this, I want to talk about this, and wrote a note, so it's not really in order of how it happened on the show. But yeah, so let's start with some of the performances. The first performance I want to talk about is the City Girls. So the City Girls performed Twerkulator, and people were really trying to drag my sisters. Like, they really were trying to drag them, because obviously Carisha and JT are not, or I'm sorry, Young Miami and JT are not dancers. So the choreography was like real choreography. Like it was, you know, you needed a little bit of rhythm to make the choreography look well, and they're not great dancers. Like, they're not great at choreography, I should say, because I'm sure they can dance fine, but they're not good at choreography, because that's how I am. I can dance, but I'm not great at choreography. I can't focus long enough to like get the dance steps, and then once I have remembered the dance steps, I like overthink it, so it looks like a mess. So the dancing wasn't great. It wasn't a 10 out of 10. I feel like the performance itself was like maybe like a 7 out of 10. I feel like you know, the breath control was there. They made an attempt at choreography, and they made an attempt at like having a dynamic performance. A lot of the men that perform, they just be jumping around or walking around on stage, and they don't give like any sort of effort towards putting on a show. And I feel like you should give the City Girls points for at least trying to give a show and not just standing up there rapping along with the song, right? So in my opinion, it was a 7 out of 10. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Megan Thee Stallion's performance, which again, I feel like Megan is not great at choreography. I do feel like she is a good dancer. Obviously she's a good dancer, and like she does better at choreography than a lot of other people, but I don't think she's a great at choreography, and everybody doesn't necessarily have to be great at choreography, to be honest. However, I did really like the performance. I think she did good, and she won a couple awards. She won Best Female Rapper, which is always my favorite award. Ever since Nicki stopped winning every year, I've always been like interested in the process of who they decide to nominate, like because there are so many female rappers out right now, and there are so many female rappers who are doing things. So to me, for at least these last like maybe 2 or 3 years, it's been very interesting to see who ends up getting nominated and who ends up winning. I think Megan has won like the last 2 years. I think Cardi won before she did. I don't remember off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but yeah, she won that award. She also won with Cardi for WAP. I don't remember what the category was, and she won album. I think best rap album or album of the year, or no, because Jazmine Sullivan won album of the year, I think. Either way, she won something for her album as well, which I also think was you know, well deserved. We love Megan in this household. Next, Cardi B performed earlier in the show, I should say, with her husband and his group that he's a part of called the Migos. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of them, but yeah, they did a performance together, and Cardi announced her pregnancy. If you are messy and be in like really messy circles, you probably already knew Cardi B was pregnant, because it's been like a little like quiet kept secret in these internet circles of people who be too much in other people's business, aka me. But if you are not in those circles and you were shocked and surprised that she announced that she was pregnant, I literally was like, did we not know that? Because that's how far deep into other people's business I be, and I need to reel myself out. So yeah, Cardi announced that she's pregnant with her second child with her husband, Offset. So congratulations to her. I wish her nothing but happiness and love, and a healthy pregnancy and healthy baby, and happiness and joy in her life. I hope that nigga is not stressing her out, because like stress during your pregnancy is just a lot, and it takes a lot of toll on your body and on your baby. But I hope that she is happy. The next performance I want to talk about is my good sister Jazmine Sullivan and Ari Lennox. So Jazmine performed her new song, I think it's called Tragic, with with Maxine Waters, like, who just brings out Maxine Waters? Like, she just don't have nothing else to do but to hang out at the BET Awards and come out and say like some spoken word at the beginning of the performance for Jazmine Sullivan. Like, icons only, legends only, really, truly, honestly, it's iconic. Like, I love Jazmine Sullivan, and she had said something when she won one of her awards, basically saying that she knows she makes it hard to be a fan of her because she never puts out music. And it's like, yeah, I'm so glad that you know. I feel like all my faves, I was telling my sister this last night, I feel like all my faves, like, don't put out music. Like, they purposely will not put out music, because we know, like, my number one, my ultimate is Rihanna, and she actually hates us at this point. I feel like she's trolling at this point. She's like, I'm never gonna put out another album, so don't even worry about it, don't even like sweat it. But even before, like, Auntie and this whole big time period, like, between Unapologetic and Auntie was 5 years. But y'all aren't hard down, like, deep Rihanna fans. Y'all fake fans. So y'all don't remember that she gave us a 5-year break then too. And now she is, like, everywhere, and we get to see her doing stuff and hanging out. But then she was just, it was magazine covers, really, and that's all you got to see of her. I hated it. It was so ghetto. But yeah. My faves do not like putting out albums. Jazmine Sullivan loves to take 50 years. I think before her album Hotels last year, I think Reality Show was like 2015 or something like that, which 6 years, 5-6 years. Like, who acts like that? Who does that? Like, annoying. But Jazmine absolutely deserved winning, like, album of the year or whatever the category was, because that Hotels is a great album, and if you have not listened to it, you should listen to it. I made a video talking about that album. I'll put it in the eye. I don't even know if I went, like, hard enough about my love for the album, because it like, I liked it as soon as I heard it, but it also grew on me. And, like, the more and more and more I listened to it, the more intense I felt about it. Like, it's never a need for her to make music that's good. Like, Jazmine Sullivan has no bad music, like, not one bad song. Like, a lot of people don't have the discography that my sister is giving. Like, yes, ma'am, okay? And The Other Side, she wrote that from my diary. She wrote The Other Side from my diary. Like, specifically, she took pages from my diary and she said, I'm gonna write a song, and we got The Other Side. Like, swear to God, like, I can't. Anyways. Frank Ocean, Kirk Franklin. The connection will make sense in a second, but Kirk Franklin opened up the BET Awards performing with Lil Baby, his song from the new Space Jam soundtrack. And I don't really have anything to say about the performance or the song. I love Kirk Franklin. I feel like Kirk Franklin is my favorite like, gospel artist. He's the gospel artist that, like, I grew up listening to when I was a kid. That was, like, the gospel music that played. Obviously they play, like, you know, the older, like, classic gospel songs, but, like, the new, like, hip, what was popping or what was fresh or whatever in gospel when I was coming up was Kirk Franklin. And Kirk Franklin was the gospel music that I, like, gravitated to, like, the music that I would choose to listen to when I listen to gospel music. So I really love Kirk Franklin, and the reason why I wanted to talk about him opening up the awards, because usually with the BET Awards we have, like, a segment in which they do like a gospel portion, or to take us to church. Like, it's a section, and we didn't get that this year. We just got Kirk Franklin opening the show with Lil Baby performing that one song, but we didn't have any other gospel, like, portion of the show, and I just found that interesting. I wonder why there wasn't any sort of, like, gospel moment. Another thing I wondered about was the emphasis that kept being put on the fact that it was the year of the woman at the BET Awards, and they also kept mentioning Black Twitter and, like, wanting to please Black Twitter and, like, the commercials and promos and, like, the pre-show, because I also watched the pre-show. And I feel like somebody at the BET organization is too tapped into Twitter and is listening to the conversations that people are having on Twitter about Black women feeling, like, erased within Black culture, and just, like, overall, like, the conversations that are being held about Black people or Blackness on Twitter, and about, like, BET specifically and how they interact with Blackness or Black people. And I feel like Twitter is not the place that they need to be listening to. Like, there 100% are people who are on Twitter who are having important conversations and who are like being very genuine and like nuanced in their conversations about like representation and all of that stuff on Twitter. But there are much more people who are being like extremists and weirdos and purposely misreading, and like I said, people who don't even watch BET or engage in Black culture in real life, who are trying to be like arbitrators or like standard bearers, is that the word, of like Blackness, and tell all Black people how they should be Black. And it's giving weird down. Like, most of the time it's giving weird, it's giving strange, it's giving I don't talk to Black people in real life. And I would hate for BET to be like so tapped into what Twitter is saying about like Black people and Blackness and start to like cater their programming to people who are not watching BET and would not ever be watching BET. Like, if they're trying to make like changes that will better suit Black people, I wish that they would just like maybe tap deeper into who their actual demographic are, like people who are actually watching BET, and get in contact with those people and see what they would like to see on BET. Because like, first of all, you can ask me, okay? Somebody hop into my DMs and I can tell you a couple things that I would like to see on BET. And I actually watch BET, okay? And I engage with people who watch BET even more than I do, who watch BET all the time. So like, I'm tapped into the Negroes is my point. So if y'all want some feedback from Black people who actually hang out with other Black people of all kind of generations and not just my peers, y'all can hit me up. But I just don't want them to be so tapped into Twitter, because like, if you're trying to learn how to be Black from Twitter, it's gonna be giving stereotype, like, and not even like the fun ones, like not even like the yeah, we kind of do that ones, like the weird ones, like for real, or the respectability ones. But yeah. Next thing is Tyler the Creator, and that's why I said Frank Ocean, because I saw Franklin and Tyler, and my brain put stuff together and got Frank Ocean when I was trying to say Tyler the Creator. But so Tyler the Creator performed at the BET Awards for the first time, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this specifically, because number one, I don't feel like his performance was anything to write home about. I guess it was like interesting to look at, it was cool to look at, but I don't know that it was like, this is the best performance or the most, like, I don't really have anything to say about his performance. But I do want to talk more about the conversation about Tyler the Creator in his career that sort of cropped up because he did the BET Awards for the first time. I saw a tweet kind of go viral of somebody saying that they were happy that Tyler finally got to do the BET Awards, because when he first came out, Black media didn't want to have anything to do with him because he was too weird for Black people. And like, the revisionism, like the way people will just make up a narrative that has no basis in reality or facts, is like mind-blowing to me. Tyler the Creator did not do Black media because Tyler the Creator did not want to do Black media. Tyler the Creator's whole persona when he first came out was that he was not like other Black people. Like, that was his whole persona. It was giving very much, I grew up in an environment when it was only white people, and I was doing whatever I could to fit in with those white people. So I downplayed like my cultural importance so that I can be just like the white people that I was hanging around with. It was giving very much like, I saw a lot of people saying that he was like Eminem's son. It was giving very much incel. It was giving very much like problematic for the sake of being problematic. It was giving very much bro humor. Like, it was not, he wanted no connection to Black culture. So to act like the Black people were like, oh, he's too weird, we don't want anything to do with him, or the fact that there are not weird or strange or like alternative Black people that exist and also engage in Black culture, is like, Lil Uzi Vert is right there. And it's like, it's like you want to have this narrative for him because y'all started listening to Tyler, the Creator, when Flower Boy came out. And like, I'm not putting no sort of I was there before you were there like spin on it, but I actually listened to Tyler, the Creator, when he put his first album Goblin out. Like, I actually listened to it because I used to watch MTV all the time, like in the mornings, and the song, I don't know, I can't remember actually off the top of my head what the name of the song was. Was the song Goblin 2? I don't know, but the video had the big spider crawling on his face or whatever. Terrified me. But I was like, this is cool. This is interesting. I've never really seen anything like this. So I listened to his album. It was not for me. However, I did keep like up with what Tyler had going on. I watched Loiter Squad. I was like engaged with his like just other stuff that he had, his Converse thing. He had a show on Vice that was like him trying things that he always wanted to do. He had a whole bunch of stuff that I was like kind of engaged with. I listened to like the Odd Future like compilation album that they all did. Obviously I love Frank Ocean. I don't know if that's obvious because I actually don't think I've ever spoken about Frank Ocean on the channel, but I love Frank Ocean. I love you know, Sid and the internet. I'm trying to think. I was like tapped into what he had going on, even though his solo music was not for me, right? And I have listened to every single one of his albums. I lie, I don't think I ever listened to Cherry Bomb, but I've listened to all of his other albums and even his new album that he just released. I don't have any problem with the album. I think the beats are phenomenal, and I think the beats are why people are saying that it's a great album, because the beats are phenomenal and his like vocal delivery and like flow is great. Some of those lyrics tell me y'all don't be listening to lyrics, and that's another reason why y'all trying to have this revisionist history for Tyler, the Creator, because the lyrics from his like earlier work are like actually disgusting and actually like very problematic. And the fact that y'all are able to sweep all of that because you liked Flower Boy, or that Flower Boy lyrically was like a lot more palatable for like mainstream audiences, and y'all gonna ignore what he was doing prior to that, it's, I don't know. But I also want to say the person that y'all are trying to make Tyler out to be, this avant-garde like black person who is like pushing boundaries and is like making like establishment black people uncomfortable with the things in the art that they're creating, is actually Lil Nas X. And you should probably be supporting Lil Nas X, okay? And Lil Nas X is like openly queer, and not just sometimes when he wants to be in certain contexts, and maybe not, and keeping it blurred. And like, listen, as a straight person, I'm not trying to tell anybody that they need to be like out if they don't want to be out, but Tyler, the Creator, has a long history of homophobia and a long history of like implying that he might be maybe bisexual or gay, and then like walking it back, or acting like he doesn't know what people are talking about when they ask him directly, is that what he is saying? So like, maybe the person y'all trying to stand should be Lil Nas X. And that's my own point, because a lot of the heroics and the narrative that y'all are trying to make Tyler fit into would fit in a Lil Nas X better. That's all I'm saying. Next I want to talk about her, the artist, the musical artist Her. She won a bunch of awards and performed. Her performance was boring. I don't want this to turn into a hate video about her, because I don't hate her. I find a lot of her newer music to be annoying. And I don't really know what it is about her that's rubbing me the wrong way, but I just don't, it's not sitting right in my spirit. However, every single award that she won last night should have went to Jazmine Sullivan. So that's all I have to say about that. Speaking of people not getting the awards they deserved, Chloe and Halle didn't win anything, and I hate that they didn't win anything for their album. Like, they put out a really solid album. It was really good, And they gave us like amazing visuals for every single facet. They had like a really good rollout for the album, and I feel like they didn't get any sort of like appreciation for it. Like, I saw a lot of people on Twitter saying it flopped. I never looked at the numbers, so I can't tell you if that's true or not. But like, I hate that they in their debut era didn't have like a lot of like fanfare around their album, because I really feel like it is good and it deserved. But hopefully maybe, you know, in the next album they put out, or that they just build on trajectory. Like, I hope that they don't just get discouraged or in their head about their music because this album wasn't received in the way it should have been received. Next, in the pre-show, DJ Envy from The Breakfast Club was doing an interview with Lil Kim, and he asked her would she be open to the idea of doing a verses, and she was like, sure. And he was like, so who would you want to do a verses with? And she said Nicki Minaj, right? So number one, I have 5 million things I could say about the concept of the verses and who should be doing verses and how it should be structured. Once again, Swiss Beats, if you're looking for someone who is really tapped in with the Negroes to give you some guidance on the verses, please hop into my DMs, because I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of places we can take this, babe. But that's a video for another time. I might do a video talking about verses. The last verses, the Bow Wow Soulja Boy verses, was great, and I might do a video talking like fully about like my thoughts on the concept of verses and like how I think we should take it to another place. But the thing I want to say, right, the Bow Wow and Soulja Boy verses worked really well because of the number one facet I feel like a versus like 2 competitors have to have, and that's audience overlap. The people who are fans of one of the artists need to also be fans of the other artist that is versing. If you have 2 people who don't make music for the same audience, you have like 2 different segments of people who are coming, and the vibe is not always going to mesh well. You won't be able to have like a comfortable conversation about, oh, I like this person better, or I like that person better, because people won't be able to make a comparison. It'll just be, this person, I like this person, I never really listened to that person, so this person must make better music. Or I like the other person, but I never really listened to this person, so this is my fave, and that's why I like them, or that's why. And you don't get to have the fun of the debate of, well, you know, this person sold this record and that person sold this record, but you remember in 1995 when this one came out and the streets was moving like that, and then this one dropped like 2 years later and we was moving like this. Like, you don't have that good natured debate if the audience for both artists don't overlap. And I feel like that is the issue that will arise with the Nicki Minaj Lil Kim battle. Beef aside, right, if we don't even factor in the fact that Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim like have a history that could make them coming into a room to do a versus contentious, the people who like Lil Kim are not the people who like Nicki Minaj. They just really aren't. There's a very, very, very small audience overlap, and it's also a big age gap between what those 2 groups are. The people who will be fans of Lil Kim are probably people who grew up listening to Lil Kim, or listened to Lil Kim when they were a teenager. Their coming of age stories are surrounded by Lil Kim. And then it's the other way around with the other group, where people who would have grown up listening to Nicki Minaj, or their coming of age is surrounded by Nicki Minaj's like come up. Like, so those 2 groups are people who have like at least a decade of like age between them, and I just don't feel like it'll be fun for the audience. Like, I get that people want to see Nicki Minaj and Lil Kim like make up, and they want to see them like come together and like appreciate each other. Like, people have wanted this since really Nicki popped, but I don't feel like for the format that versus is, it works. I just don't feel like it works. I feel like Little Kim should do a versus with Foxy Brown. I feel like they're still giving people what they want with them, you know, making up. And it's people in the same, you know, age group who would have been listening to both at the same time. And I feel like materially wise, it's a more balanced versus. And I feel like the only person that Nicki Minaj should do a versus with is Drake. And I know that they said that they don't want to do male and female verses because of, I think it was sexism. I think they said it was sexism. They didn't want to do it. But that's the only verses that make sense. Nicki Minaj and Drake is the only verses that make sense with Nicki Minaj. She doesn't have female peers at all. And Drake doesn't really have male peers. So it's a match made in heaven. And they're fake besties again now. So now's the perfect time for you to go ahead and get Nicki and Drake on the phone. So that's a free one. Now the rest of the ideas you're gonna have to pay me for, but that's a free one. Nicki Minaj and Drake, that's the free one. And then next, MJ. So MJ from Pose was at the BET Awards this year, and she presented the award for, I think it was Best R&B Singer or whatever the award was. My sister SZA won, and she wasn't there because she's aggravating. Again, one of my faves who just refuses to put out music or whatever, or show up places or give me content, but whatever. I found it interesting, and again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier about somebody at BET, like front office, being very tapped into what Twitter is saying about BET and about like the BET Awards in general, because I've seen, at least for the last 2 or 3 years, people being really upset that the cast of Pose was not invited to the BET Awards, and that they were not nominated for anything at the BET Awards, and they basically were not a part of the ceremony. A lot of people felt like it was, you know, based in homophobia and transphobia for these, like, this giant show that's starring Black people to not get any sort of recognition at the only Black award show. I guess the Image Awards, but the Soul Train Awards, but to not get any acknowledgement at the biggest Black award show that happens every year. Like, they felt like it was like a personal, or like a, you know, it wasn't okay for them to continue to get slighted. And I find it interesting now that the show is off, the final season of the show has now aired, they finally invited MJ. And I don't know if they invited everybody else, and MJ was the only one that wanted to come, but I do find it interesting. And that's all I got to say about that. And the last thing I want to say is about Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars won a bunch of awards for that song that he has with Innocent Pac, and they keep teasing an album, but it's like, at this point, it's been like 6 months. So put the album out or don't. Because I don't want to keep talking about it. I don't want to keep going back and forth about it. Put the album out or don't put the album out. Stop it. Because now I feel like they playing in my face. But the thing that I wanted to mention specifically in this vein was that Jack Harlow was nominated for a bunch of awards. And this is my hot take for the day. White people should not be nominated for BET Awards. I don't care what kind of music they make. I don't care what contributions to the art form they have given. White people should not be nominated for BET Awards ever. I will hear and listen to the conversation. I seen somebody on Twitter be like, when white people make like music that would be categorized as Black music, that they should be like categorized like how they do Black people at the Grammys, and like urban categories. And it's like, what is urban? What kind of music is urban? What does that sound like? You have it'll be like Rihanna and like Tamar, and then like, I can't think of people off the top of my head, but it'll be like a whole bunch of random people whose only connection is the fact that they're all Black in a category called urban, and they're battling against each other. So I am okay with the idea of maybe having a category that is best white person, and all the white people from all different categories of entertainment who have contributed in some way to Black culture can battle it out in that category. And that way we have everyone's happy, you know. I'm happy, you're happy, everybody's happy. White people get to be involved, but they don't get to, you know, be all up in the mix, you know. Because didn't they let, like, Post Malone win a BET award or something? It was somebody, and I'm just like, the only white rapper who should have ever won a BET award is Mac Miller. That's the only name that's coming to my... And, like, even that is pushing it, because white people shouldn't win BET awards. Like, go to the Grammys. That's why they're there. I don't understand. But, yeah. So that is it. That is all. This video is actually longer than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a quick little video, but I guess I had a lot to say. I am sorry for taking a long break. It's because, my brain be all over the place and I can't sit down long enough to record a video is really what the issue is. I was going to try to make an excuse, but it's just, I just be having too much in my head going on. I be overthinking the video topics. I be, you know, overthinking editing even after I record the video. So it just be too much and I don't never get anything. And I apologize for that. I am reaching out to get some medication for my ADHD so we can really be cooking with some gas, because I'm tired of not being able to focus. It's just not productive for me in any way, in any facet of my life. But yeah, so that is it. That is all. I shall see you in the next one.